Hey y'all, it's Amber. Welcome to my channel. I am recapping season 5, episode 3 of Love is Blind. Oh my god, so much happened. I'm gonna want to hop right into it, but first I want to say thank you for any returning subscribers viewing my video. I really appreciate it. If you are new here, welcome. I am recapping and reviewing season 5, episode 3 of Love is Blind. I've made 2 videos about Love is Blind. Love is Blind prior to this. So if you haven't seen those, go check them out because this is a spoiler-filled episode right here. If you enjoy this kind of content, please consider subscribing to the channel. I'm going to be making more content like this about more shows. Right now, I'm focused on Love is Blind. I'm thinking about trickling in other things too. I know the next season of Survivor comes out this week. I know that The Traitors is coming out next week too. Don't quote me on that. I'm not really sure. I'll let you know what I am going to be filming after I put up episode 4 of Love is Blind tomorrow. So, wow, this episode had a lot, right? It had a lot. If I'm looking a lot to the left, right, I guess for you guys, I'm just looking at my notes because there was just a lot to get through. This episode opens up with Taylor and JP finally meeting. JP had proposed to Taylor, so now they are meeting. They're seeing each other for the first time. They're both really nervous. JP is like, yeah, I'm so glad I purposely didn't picture Taylor in my mind because I don't want to be disappointed if I have expectations or anything like that. Like, I just want to love this person for who they are, who I got to know them to be in the pods, you know? So, great. So, the doors open very dramatically. Taylor sees JP and she goes, oh, thank God. JP is very attracted to Taylor, and of course, she's a bombshell. So, when they hug, when they kiss, when they meet, like, it is clear to me that they are attracted to each other. At least I thought so at first. Taylor and JP's interaction is very, very awkward. There's like lots of silences. Taylor mentions as much when they were in the pods that there'd be silences and it was awkward, you know, so she's like, I did expect that kind of, you know, but that's fine. They're really affectionate with each other. Taylor in a confessional mentions that she wouldn't go after a guy like JP because of his gap between his teeth. She's saying like, I don't know. I wouldn't go for him because of that. But I mean, this experiment is to push those things aside and get to really know each other for like who we are. And I'm glad, you know, a gap wouldn't stop me, but I'm glad. I mean, a gap is just like, it's fixable. It's not like, okay, I mean, whatever. It is what it is. The next scene that we see, Stacy is talking to somebody, I don't remember, somebody, you know, that's one of the people who are dating, obviously, but not featured onto the show. So she is talking to somebody, and she is saying, like, you know, Johnny seemed to be very territorial over Izzy, but, like, Izzy is my top choice. That's what Stacy's saying. And she's like, I even wrote a poem for him. And y'all, I'm going to put the clip right there.
I wrote a really bad poem. Do you want to read it?
Izzy, oh Izzy, the words you say sometimes put me in a tizzy. So much so I need a cocktail filled with something fizzy. I'd rather stay in a pod with you than go take a whizzy.
So yeah, that was something, right? It's funny. I kind of like cheesy, corny stuff like that. I think it's funny and also sweet, you know. So the next scene is Izzy in the men's quarters doing push-up. He says it's to take the stress away. Someone was like, does that really help? And he's like, no, but he's still doing them push-ups. I'm like, okay, sure, why not? The next scene is Izzy and Stacy. They have a date. Izzy tells her that this experience is really hard for him. He asks Stacy, like, can you see a future with me? And she says, I'm starting to get to that point. She says she feels scared with this experience because she hasn't felt like this with somebody for a long time. Izzy tells Stacy that this experience is really hard for him. He asks Stacy, like, can you see a future with me? She says, I'm starting to get to that point. She says that she feels scared with this experience because she hasn't felt like this for somebody in a really long time. She says it feels like her heart and lungs are fighting against each other. That's the kind of feeling that Izzy brings to her. And he says he feels the same way. Okay. He says that he feels insecure about loving somebody more than they love him. That's understandable. Stacy gets really emotional about the fact that she feels like she can fall for somebody so hard, but then she has the potential to lose them still. Izzy, at the end of it, seems really happy with this conversation. So that's good. The next scene that we see is Uche and Aaliyah. They're on a date. Aaliyah is like, hey, I want to tell you, like, I do some weird shit. I'm about to list it out for you. And she goes, I grab the skin, like, on the inside of my elbow, and I play with it. And Uche's like, that's a weenus. That's your weenus. And then she's like, I guess I like to grab my weenus then. And he's like, I bet you do like to grab your weenus. Very flirty, weird. I'm not going to say it's sexy because there's nothing sexy about a weenus, just that it sounds like penis. So, I mean, whatever. She also says another weird quirk of hers is that she eats packets of Splenda and honey, and he kind of doesn't even say anything about the Splenda. He's like, honey? I'm like, honey's a more normal one. Splenda, to me, Splenda's really bitter, and I'm just like, okay, fine. And then she's like, also a weird thing about me is that when you shower, like, I'm gonna peek on you. Girl, that's every man ever in any relationship ever, you know? And I mean, women, we're no better. So it's not weird. It's not weird. That's all I'm saying. He's like, I'm going to charge you for that by the minute. Okay, Uche. Everything's freaking, you know, he's a businessman, you know, so everything's freaking about money to him, isn't it? I'm just kidding. She's like, tell me some weird stuff that you do. He's like, I don't do anything weird. Like, I don't have any weird things. And he's like, the only weird thing about me is that, like, I kind of have OCD, and I'll literally walk around my house and adjust things if they seem out of place. And she's like, is it gonna be good, like, if we live together? Because I don't know about this. He's like, well, are you messy? Like, do you like crooked picture frames? And she's like, no. And he's like, well, it'll be fine. So, you know, they just continue to have a great connection. The next date we see is between Milton and Lydia. They give each other gifts. He gives her this, like, bee. It doesn't look very, like, soft, but it's kind of like, I don't know what kind of material it possibly is. It doesn't look like a stuffed animal. That's all I got to say about that. And she gives him a rock. So, yeah. And they're like, we got to cut this rock down so it can fit under my microscope. And I mean, that's just something that is very unique to both of them, I suppose. The fact that they really love, I don't know, looking at rocks under microscopes. So I keep glancing at Milton's picture over here, and I'm just like, on the subreddit for Love Is Blind, someone's like, Milton looks like a young Lionel Richie. So now that's literally all I see, especially in this picture. I'm like, oh my God, he's a handsome guy, you know. Milton asks Lydia, like, what are you the most proud of? She's like, well, I have 2 degrees. Slay. Honestly, slay. She asks Milton about his biggest trauma. And he said that when he was in the 8th or 9th grade, he was playing basketball with his friends and his back was hurting. He didn't really think anything of it, but he went to the nurse anyways. And they apparently found that his spine was collapsing and it was causing so many issues that it was causing him to go into organ failure. So he had to get surgery to fix his spine. That way he didn't die. And it was like really painful for him. It was a hard recovery. And he continues to fear that he's going to be paralyzed. He had to get 12 holes drilled in his spine just to keep this man up. And he says that he fears being bound in a wheelchair and then, like, no one's gonna love him or, like, support him, you know. And Lydia's like, well, I'll love you. Like, I'll love you. Of course I will. I'm a hard worker. I'll love you. They both confess to each other again that they're falling for each other, and they both reaffirm that they can see a future with each other. So that's great. And at one point Lydia like gets up and she's like standing against the wall and she's like, oh, I want to feel you. She kind of did that with Izzy in a way. And just the way she's standing against the wall, I don't know. I was giggling. I mean, I'll put a picture right there. The next thing we have is Johnny. He's going on a date with Izzy. Izzy opens up with telling Johnny that the differences between her and someone else, and that someone else we know is Stacy. He says that, him and Johnny had an emotional connection pretty much from the get, but then Stacy came along and like she was fun and it was easy for her, and the deep connection did eventually end up happening. He's implying that his connection is stronger with Stacy because of this. Johnny says your connection with her was the same as my connection with Chris. Like, I hope you understand that. Okay. I don't know why she brought that up. Like, it was relevant at all. Like, who cares about your connection with Chris? I mean, you literally dumped him. So she says that she wasn't falling in love with Chris. She says that if she chose Chris, it would be a fear-based choice, and that being with him would be repeating the last few relationships. She said her last few relationships, she'll go into it feeling like, yeah, this relationship makes sense. And because of that, like when they break up, like she's not really hurt by that because she doesn't really have a deep connection with them. She said with Chris that she felt really secure, but she didn't want to feel secure in this experiment. She wanted to go with what her heart was truly yearning for, and apparently that's someone like Izzy. She says that she's wants to break out of her usual pattern. I feel like her telling Izzy this is very manipulative. Izzy, she can tell that she's losing Izzy, and Izzy's like, yeah, I have fun with Stacy and we're getting like a deeper connection. And she's like, okay, yeah, sure, I had a deeper connection with Chris too, but like, do you want to really go with her, or do you want to go with the risk, and I don't know. It's just, she's making it hard for him to reject her. And I just feel like she's like low-key kind of being manipulative. So you can tell that Izzy is very conflicted, or at least feeling like a lot of pressure. He does end up ending things with Johnny, and she pretty much just leaves, and he doesn't realize that she's left, and he goes, I'm sorry, but like I wish you the best. And she doesn't hear that, so whatever. Next scene is Johnny going back to the women's corner, and she tells the other girls that her and Izzy broke up. She says that he chose Stacy because that's the easy option. She's like, if he chooses her, then his problems are going to be outside of the home. Okay, I didn't like this. This was like the very like catty, nasty side of Johnny, who thinks that she's better than Stacy. I will take back what I did say. I think in the past couple of episodes where I was getting really bad vibes from Stacy, and I guess what I was getting is probably her bad vibes that she was getting from Johnny, and maybe that's why she kept things more close to the chest and, not forthcoming with the other women about exactly how she feels about things, and so I apologize for that. Stacy, I was wrong. Stacy, if you're watching this, Stacy, I was wrong, girl. I was wrong. Please forgive me, Stacy. At first, I thought she said, I want to go home. I literally want to go home. But then she's like, okay, well, maybe I should talk to Chris again. Because after I found out how heartbroken he was, after like I ended things with him, it made me really question my decision. Sure, that's what made you question your decision. And now you want to talk to him again. Right. Not because you just got dumped by your number one, but because he was heartbroken. Okay. This really can't be another Zach, Irina, Bliss situation. Like, Irina ended up being like kind of shallow and dishonest. And there's nobody really like that here. The only person that I think is being kind of shady and manipulative is you, Johnny. So, Izzy has been open about having feelings for Stacy. It's not like he's been hiding it. going to Chris now is really a move of desperation because you still want to be on TV. She even says, like, I've been shitting on our relationship this whole time. So, like, I don't know. It's giving kid throwing a tantrum, like, very much so, because they didn't get their way. So, and I should know. I have 2 kids who do that every fucking day. Okay, so the next the next scene is Izzy and Stacy, and they are on a date, and they have burgers and fries. Delicious. Izzy says that he's relieved. He's relieved he ended things with Johnny. Being with Stacy for him is easy and effortless. He's saying that him and Johnny, like, they ended on a bad note. Very true. Stacy's like, look, I'm going to let her go through what she's going to go through, and I'm pretty much going to stay out of it. Izzy says, like, I feel so giddy when I'm with you, like, when you fall in love for the first time. That's how I feel right now. Izzy asks, like, so, like, do you feel like you love me? And she's like, well, I know I'm getting there, but I want to tell you that when it's the right time. And Izzy kind of looks upset about this, to be honest. I mean, I guess everything's fine, but he does look pretty upset. The next scene, apparently, Chris gets notified that Johnny wants to speak with him. And he's like, it feels great being a backup, like right next to Izzy and 2 others sitting there. He's like, it feels great being second choice. Okay. The guys come for him. They're like, don't think of it like that. Like, maybe she just wants to talk to you. Who knows? Chris is really genuinely a very sweet guy. Johnny should have gone for him. You know what? Like, just the nice, sweet guys, the ones that can make you laugh, the ones that you sure of are the guys who you should go for, in my opinion. I don't like risk. I'm risk adverse. I'll tell you that much. And I don't know I feel really bad for Chris. I really do. Chris and Johnny, they go on a date, and Johnny's like, it has been a really shitty morning. She says, Izzy ended things with me, and she wants to talk about how her and Chris ended. She says when she heard about Chris being emotional after they broke up, she questioned whether or not she was making the right choice. I already said that earlier, but she says it to him. The next thing that she says is very important, so I want to take time to really... This is very important. It's not an exact quote, but I got the main parts of what she said, so we could talk about it with whatever happens later. So she says that she thinks that she's repeating a pattern by choosing Izzy because Izzy is emotionally unavailable. She's never had a secure relationship. She says choosing a secure relationship is less exciting. And Chris says, well, like, I want you to feel excited about me, and I want you to like me for me. And she says, listen, like, I had more fun, more laughs, and more safety with you. Like, honestly. And Chris is very upset. And he's saying, like, why did you do this? Like, why did you talk to me? Why did you make the choice that you made? And Johnny admits that, like, look, I made a mistake. You can tell that he's going to forgive her because he's a sweet guy. And he says, like, I want to be with you, but I got to think about everything you said. And that's the end of their date. Chris goes back to the men's quarters, and he and Izzy decide to compare notes about the things that Johnny is saying. Izzy's telling Chris that, look, Johnny said that you, Chris, are not what she is used to. She said that everyone who she's dated has always felt a safe feeling, but she was never in love with them. So she couldn't see herself with you, Chris. Chris is like, interesting. She told me the same thing, but almost opposite. Johnny said she felt better with you, Izzy, because I was a safe thing, and she's not used to that. She's used to more excitement. So she tells Chris Izzy is emotionally unavailable, and that's why I think I made a mistake going for him. She doesn't tell Chris that she hasn't had safe before. She doesn't say that. So they are implying that she's being really sketchy, that they're telling them 2 separate things. This is not this is like, this isn't the big like gotcha that what these boys think, you know what I mean? There are many reasons like that Chris shouldn't be with Johnny, you know, because like who wants to feel like second choice? Who wants to be with somebody who felt a lot stronger with somebody else, you know what I mean? Those two things can exist in one human body at once. You can be the safe option and also emotionally unavailable, or this could be two separate type of men that she's talking about. I don't know why Izzy and Chris are like acting like every single person that she's ever dated in her past followed this exact same pattern. Like, I don't know. I feel like they're over analyzing it and they're making her out to be like a liar. I don't think she's a liar. I think she's like desperate. I think she's maybe manipulating things a little bit, but I don't think that in this instance she's specifically lying about something, okay? Ali and Uche, they go on a date. He gifts her a journal. The first 2 pages, he said that he wrote her a poem. It's corny, you know, but it's cute.
I walk in nervous. I hear your voice. You say my name. You are my choice. I'm excited now. I lose my poise. You destroy the fear. You drown the noise. Your love is rich. I'm feeling poor. You open up. I'm reassured. I think of you. I drift to sleep. How will we feel the day we meet? You are my queen. You are elite. My guard is down. Let's take the leap.
He really cares for her. You can see. She says like, you know, I feel the same way about you. She feels scared because she doesn't want to get hurt by him. It's about the 50th time that she has said this, but I understand the need to reinforce it all the time. She says that she does trust him completely. So Uche gets quiet and he's like, well, speaking of like trust and honesty, like I got something to tell ya. I haven't been honest with you. He says that I went into the pod on the first day and he recognized one of the girls and he dated her in the past. It's Lydia. Now, I know I haven't been talking a lot about like the interpersonal relationships and stuff, but like Lydia and Aaliyah are very, very close. They're always hugging on each other. They're always just giving each other lots of like really kind words. Like Lydia mentions, like we're literally the same person. Like just, they're very, very close. So, wow. Wow. That's all I got to say about that. And that's where the episode ends. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I am curious to know what you guys think. What do you think about the Johnny, Izzy, Chris love triangle thing happening? I guess it's kind of like a love square with Stacy, but no one's really conflicted about Stacy, right? Just Izzy was for a minute, but now he's not. Anyways, if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. Please give a like, comment if you want, subscribe if you would. That would be great. I love doing this. I really appreciate the audience that I've cultivated so far. And I just want to let you know that I'm going to be uploading the next episode tomorrow, so episode 4, and then you won't get another Love is Blind episode from me until Friday, because Friday is when episodes 5 through 7 come out. So on Friday I'll upload episode 5, Saturday episode 6, and Sunday episode 7. And yeah, anyways, thanks for watching and I'll see you guys later. Peace.